But I'm like, I think it's time for me to go as this double. Because literally, I threw everything that I've ever wanted to do at this character.
Yeah.
Like I pushed, man, and I'm happy where I pushed.
What's up, guys? Today's guest is a co-owner of JAM and a stuntman who just completed Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Please welcome back to the JAMCast, Mr. Aaron Toney. What's up, AT?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
Good, man. Good. I'm always stoked when we can get someone from the Jam fam in the chair. You know?
I know it's hard these days, it seems.
I know. The only time I see you is when you're on like the channel doing like a Stuntman React with Corridor. I'm like, he's on Corridor more than the JAMcast is a problem.
Bro, I know, right? I've just been busy, and finally I got to complete, a show that I was just wanting to be done. So it's good to be done.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah. It's always surreal to me too when you're actually back in town, because people always go like, where's Aaron? And I'm like, I just assume he's out of town. I'm like, I don't even know. And then I'll like check your story. I'm like, oh, he's with the kids. He's back home. All right.
Yeah,
cool.
right.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. And congrats on the project. And more so, like, I think one of the things that caught me by surprise, because for a long time I've always asked you, like, yo, when are you going to start coordinating? When are you going to hang up the performance hat? Yeah. And just recently, a couple weeks ago, you put up a very sentimental Instagram post that had the goggles from Falcon, I believe. And you basically, for lack of a better term, I'll let you expand upon it. You basically said that you were hanging up the stunt doubling hat, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, specifically, I wanted to make sure that people understood that I was hanging up the stunt double hat. I'm not done performing by a long shot, but I just think that there's a lot that I can still contribute and that I want to expand upon and do in this business. And it was time for me to go, especially with Falcon. I think I personally have done everything that I've wanted to do for that character. And I'm so happy actually with what I was able to accomplish with an amazing team, with Dave McCumber, but with us and coordinating and fight coordinating. And the man just took on a tremendous task of a lot of things, because there was just a lot going on that show. And with any sort of TV style show where they want film quality action, it's difficult. And you know as well as I know how hard that is, because I did Altered Carbon Season 2, and that was hard. You know what I mean? It's hard to be a fight coordinator and be a lead double. You can do it. Sam Hargrave's done it.
Yep.
When we did Civil War, I mean, it was just a tremendous task. He had a lot of help, but he was also taking on a lot. You know what I mean? So it's good to be done.
And do you know Falcon and Winter Soldier, is it 30-minute or hour episodics?
You know what? I think they're like hour episodics, because
that's crazy.
It's big. It's supposed to be big.
Yeah. See, that's one thing that people take for granted, is that like TV works a lot faster in a lot of facets, but as a result of it, like you just like spoke on, and the difficulty in being, doing stunts on it and getting film quality results is, you got to imagine, guys, that when we shoot a movie, it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to a year long to create an end product that's maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours. On a show like that you just did, I don't know how many episodes you did, but basically you had to do probably 10 to 12 1-hour length things within the same duration that it would take to film a movie. So it's like you're fitting in so much more under such a time crunch. But obviously someone like Marvel wants the same cinematic results.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we figured out a way to go ahead and get it done, it seemed like. I can't give Dave McCumber enough kudos, because it was a very hard show. I can't say a lot, but all I can say is I think the man is a genius. And I hope that his work shows through when this show comes out, you know what I mean? And our tremendous team. We had an amazing team. We had Justin Eaton and John Ania and Janelle Stevens and Hannah Scott and all these doubles, and our riggers. Michael Huggins and Ralph Cook are among some of the best. I love those guys so much. And I wouldn't want to do a show without them.
Yeah,
like
totally.
It's just, they are the best. They come from, a sort of clan or a tribe of, stunt doubles who are riggers that get it. You know what I mean? Like with Uncle Dave Huggins, who is, a legend in the business as well. Like it doesn't get any better than that to me.
Yeah.
So
I worked with Dave and Mike both on Jungle Book. And then after that is shortly when Michael took off to ATL and just been killing it ever since then.
Yeah.
And just to put this out there, just so that it kind of holds true, I actually talked to Dave McCumber a week ago via text, and he's agreed to come on the JAMCast the next month. So
that's amazing. Yeah. I love hearing that. Finally, I want that man to be exposed to everybody, because I don't think anyone knows how amazing he is.
Totally, dog.
He is a wizard. I call Dave McCumber the like wizard, like, because he's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Justin Reamer, who I just did Stumptown with for last season, he actually had Dave as his fight coordinator and previs for Watchmen series.
Yes.
And they said that they didn't even call him Dave on set anymore. Even on the call sheet, it would say Super Dave. Because they're like, this man's just doing it all, man.
Seriously. He's freaking crazy, man. It's just, like I said, I can't wait till we can share the previses, because they're some of the best I've ever seen, like, hands down.
And that's what's so impressive to me, is that, like, you know, all the stuff that he's doing with VFX and animation and even motion capture that he does on his own is so cool. And at the root of it, my man is just a badass martial artist. He still has some of the best kicks in the game.
Oh my God, still. Yeah. We would be shooting previs and Dave would just throw a front kick and you'd be like, oh, that's classic technique. That's like old school NASCAR. Like, that's real stuff. Like him and Larry Lamb, because they're both from Canada.
Yeah.
It's just like, Larry's like, you know, pretends to, I don't know, you know Larry Lamb.
Of course.
But Larry Lamb is another one. And he's one of those guys, he's older. His son is Keanu Lamb. And, you know, Keanu is a well-known sort of like up and coming fight coordinator as well. The kid's amazing with sword. And I think he just worked on like G.I. Joe, the Snake Eyes spinoff. But anyways, Larry Lamb and Dave McCumber come from that realm of NASCAR that was like the golden era, I feel like, where form and basics were so important. And so it doesn't get any better than that.
I just see Dave in my head as like wearing America pants and throwing sidekicks. Like that's what I see in my brain. Oh, that's awesome, man. So well, like with that being said though, like obviously this is the end of an era, so to speak, in your performance career. But just like walk people through it, because some of them may not have heard your earliest JAMCast and stuff like that. What projects have you got to double Anthony Mackie on? And then specifically in the Marvel MCU, which films did you get to double him on? Because I think people will be blown away by the list.
Oh, yeah. Well, it started on Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So that was the first one. And that was because of Don Lee. Don Lee put my name in to double Mackie at that time. And we just hit it off. And I had known the man for a while. So ended up working with him on Abraham Lincoln. And then from there, it was straight into, it was a few years later. It was Captain America, the Winter Soldier. And that was where it all started. So it was the inception of Falcon, and from there we went to Civil War, and then Infinity War, and then we also did Ant-Man. I forgot about that. Yeah, Ant-Man was a really fun one because we got to, I think that was the first time Falcon got to do stuff outside of just the normal, just fly and shoot. You know what I mean? So we started playing around with other things. And then by the time we got to Civil War, we started expanding upon and playing to my strengths as, you know, a Taekwondo, you know, artist. So I got to go ahead and kick, you know what I mean, which was great. And, you know, Sam and James just really sort of set the bar for what Falcon's potential was with what I was able to do, which was great. And then, it just kind of from there. I also worked on what you call it? What was that Christmas movie he did in New York? It was like The Night Before, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah.
It was with Seth Rogen and what's his face? I can't remember the other kid, but that was a fun one. I got to like run across rooftops and do like, you know, flatbacks like Home Alone style and stuff like that. It was fun. It was cool. But mainly it's been the MCU with me and Mackie. And that's been just a huge part of my career now that I think about it, because I've been in the business for about 15 years. And it was doing stuff that was going from Pirates of the Caribbean to Norbit, doubling Eddie Murphy, all the way to, you know, doubling Mackie for a majority of my career later on. And then I got to do Power Rangers, which was great. So that was another sort of notch in the belt that I got to hit, you know. And I just feel like everything that I've done, everything that I've wanted to do, I've gotten to do.
Bro, 100. I mean, and not to make this a racial thing, but I'm going to make it a racial thing right now.
I know.
On G.I. Joe, you got to be one of the only non-Asian ninjas in the scene, and we could see your face and everything. I'm like,
I know. And you know what's interesting? I actually asked our coordinators and everybody, I was like, guys, is this okay? And they're like, oh, it's okay. And the reason why is because the RZA he was our sort of headmaster.
Yes.
So we made it a multiracial ninja clan, and I thought that was cool. So it was kosher with everybody, and I was like, cool, I can be here because I was amongst my brothers, my Asian brothers. I was happy as a clam.
I was dying. I was like, yo, we got a black ninja on screen. And then the fact that they cloned most of us like a bunch of times, like we played multiple guys. I'm like, this is hilarious.
It was hilarious, bro. Yeah.
Hilarious.
I'm really excited for the Snake Eyes spinoff, man.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, bro. I think when you get the stunt coordinator and action director of the Rurouni Kenshin movies,
Yes.
and you partner them with, G.I. Joe and Anish Sherfa and, Keanu and all the kids from like Canada, the young clique in Canada came up. Like I heard that they got trained under the stunt coordinator and his team, and they just evolved, man. And I'm excited to see what they put on screen.
Yeah,
Can't
me
wait.
too. There's a lot of reboots that are coming out right now, and I don't want to get too off topic about your own life, but like I'm also very excited to see Mortal Kombat. To
Yes.
see what they did with that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a franchise that still hasn't really lived up to the hype and been like done its true justice in
Yes.
cinematic form,
Yeah,
So,
I agree, bro. I agree.
yeah, it'll be interesting.
Yeah.
And so like back to talking about Falcon and stuff like that, I think one of the funniest things to me that I see all the time is all of these people trying to replicate the Falcon kick when they're like learning wires. And I'm like, if you're learning wires, you shouldn't be trying to do the Falcon kick. You should be trying to do a bunch of other things first, y'all.
You know what's interesting? I've seen some good recreations of it, but I also worry about the ones that I see. I'm like, oh my God. Because I don't know if anyone knows this, but doing that move, I've probably wrecked my ankles probably twice.
A couple times, I bet.
Yeah. A couple times. And it's because of, the mistiming and not being ready and the timing being off between the puller and then the performer. That is a dangerous move. I've been asked on a couple shows to replicate that move, and there's only a handful of pullers that I will do the move with. So yeah, I don't just go and do it.
So when you're doing it, are you preloaded and unwrapping, or are they wrapping you in to the twist?
Am preloaded.
Preloaded,
I'm
unwrapped.
preloaded.
Okay.
And the secret, well, it's not really a secret because I tell anybody that wants to know, is when the line is tense, I am bracing off the line and I'm keeping myself away from it. So that's how it works. You know what I mean? And then I'm actually initiating the spin by turning my sort of a core counterclockwise into the line. And then when I'm ready to come out, I just spin myself. So it's not one of those moves that you just go ahead and say, oh, I can do that. It's not the easiest move, but to do it effectively, you have to really think about it and be in sync with your puller. And that goes with any wire gag, because anyone can jump on a wire, but it takes someone, I've said this before, it takes a sort of synchronicity, as if that's a word, a sort of synchronization between the puller and the performer, because
100%.
you both are performing something that's meant to look, extravagant and, superhuman a lot of times.
Wire work is something that a lot of people take for granted because they just think that either A, the wire is doing everything for you, which is incorrect. Yes. And they don't realize like the reason why it's called like riding a line is because like, you have to like let it do its thing so that you don't like throw the system out of whack. But at the same time, you have to perform and have your timing perfect. It's like literally one of the most difficult things. And like, I've been thankful as being one of the lightest guys on every show I'm on, that I get a lot of time on the line. So like I made a lot of money early on by being that dude, but man, I'm glad to be out of a harness these days.
Heck yeah, dude. Oh man. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I think we talked about this a little bit. Like my back was so out of whack for maybe 3 years. And it was from what we did on G.I. Joe 2.
Dog.
Legitimately. And I never knew it. I was like, why is my pelvis off? And why do I have this pinch in my left side? Like my butt's on fire. Like it's for the longest time. And I started doing yoga exercises to get things elongated and stretched out. And it got to a point where the pain was so bad, T, that I remember I took an Uber to a chiropractor because I couldn't walk. I was on a show, bro. And I was on a show working, and I would, if I had to walk, I would, walk it off, and I wouldn't tell anybody. But I literally hobbled into a chiropractor, and they were like, what's your pain level? And I was like a 12. Yeah, bro. I was like, I can't even walk. I was getting out of the car shaking. Like that's how bad it was.
Yeah.
But no one ever hears those stories. They always think, oh, wire work's fun, this and that. And I'm like, no, wire work is going to mess you up if you're not careful.
I mean, the few times I've gone to the ER a few times in my career, and it's been on wires for 2 or 3 of them. But even on that show specifically, a lot of people don't realize, like, we were in our harnesses every day for maybe 3 months.
Yeah, literally.
Every day. Every day was wire work. And the funniest thing about it was when we showed up on set, I thought we were just going to be ninjas. So, like, I'd practice wall flips, all kinds of sword shit.
Yeah.
And then they're like, y'all brought leg cuffs? And I was like, no. We need leg cuffs?
What are we doing?
And they're like, you guys are on the wires the entire scene.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, what did we sign up for?
That was a huge scene.
It was cool.
Yeah, man.
It's a really cool scene to look back on. Like, I still have some clips in my reel from that scene that I'm like, damn, that's some dope wire stuff.
Yeah, man. It was a lot of fun. It was
crazy.
It was me, you. It was like Arnold Chan, Carrie Wong. We had Ming there.
Yeah. Joe Nin.
Joe Nin was with us. Jables.
Yep. And then they flew in Victor Paglia and Yoshio Izuka.
Yes, we had some heavy hitters, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Crazy times.
It was crazy times, bro.
It's crazy how long ago that was.
God,
yeah, it's crazy.
So cool.
So along the lines of your doubling career, like, obviously you're hanging up the hat as Falcon, but you've also had the chance to double, like, so many guys over here, and you mentioned a few of them earlier. And then I also know you've doubled a bunch of guys. Like, you got to double Chris Tucker in one of the Rush Hour movies. You've doubled Chris Brown before. Like,
doubled a lot of Chris's.
Yeah, I was gonna say you double a lot. Is there a role that stands out as your mind as, like, your most favorite doubling position? Would it be Falcon since you've spent the duration of it, or is there one that, like, stands out in your mind?
Yeah, I think it's Falcon, man, because I feel like I got to help give birth to this character live action, and then I got to close the book, for me. You know what I mean? I think it's come full circle. So it's literally a piece of me. You know what I mean? Like you go, like, that's me. That's a part of me. So it's great, man. I love it. Like,
that is wild. And now you also had the chance, like, and I know we touched on this briefly in your earlier JAMCast, but you also on reshoots got the chance to double Black Panther for some of the scenes.
Oh, yes.
Which is,
it's funny, man, as I love to be a part of that, but I'm always like, I'm not the only one, because people will go, oh, you're a Black Panther, and I'm like, no, I'm not the only guy. Yeah. I wasn't even the first guy. You know what I mean?
There's been a bunch of guys.
There's been a bunch of guys. Like, I'm one of them. Yeah. They're like, he's Black Panther. I'm like, I'm not the only guy. Just don't do that. You know what I mean? So I'm very particular. Like, I claim Falcon because I've literally been the only guy mainly in the suit. There's been other guys that have been slated to be in the suit. What's his face? Like, we've had David Charles Warren, but we've also had what's his name? Buff black dude. You know what I'm talking about?
Down in Atlanta?
Yeah, he's in Atlanta, but he works with whatchamacallit a lot. See, this is what happens when you do stunts. You
hit
get
your
these
head
little
all the time.
mini concussions, and then the people that are your friends, you can't remember their names. Bro, it happens to all of us. You go, I can't remember so-and-so because they're my boy, but I can't remember them right now. Yeah, you get mini concussed over the years. So anyways, but what's his name? I see now. I'm not even gonna let it go now.
I know, yeah.
Because
it'll come to you at the funniest time.
Works with Sam a lot.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, he's not new now, but, like, I'd say, like, last 5 years he, like, really stepped his game up.
He's really been coming up, and he's a buddy of mine. But I can't remember his name right now. It's gonna hit us by the end of this show. Don't worry. Yeah. And we might be talking about something else, and I'll be like, so and so. They'd be like, bro, we finished talking about that like 5 minutes ago.
It's funny. I remember people's Instagram handles more than their full names most times. Like, someone will be like, I'm so and so, and I'm like, oh, I know your Instagram.
I know. Nate Perry.
Okay.
Nate Perry is amazing. That dude is a stud. He's also a really good actor too. When we did Wolf Warrior 2, Nate had to actually do a sort of African warlord accent, and he killed it. Like, he was amazing. Like, the dude is a stud. So he was slated to be in the suit, but I did everything. And there was even times when he had the wardrobe in his room, and I can say this, but I was like, I can do that. And I went and did the actual gag because I was already there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's been one of those things where if I could do it, I did it. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't want anybody in the suit, because it was never like that. I was like, oh, if we need another double, fine. But if I'm here, why does somebody else need to be in the suit? And I really held to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, I'm proud to go ahead and say that I was mainly the only person in the suit, unless there was, a stand-in to go ahead and do some walking for
Totally.
Sam.
And I probably asked this question out of order because you've obviously revealed now that Falcon is like your favorite one or most memorable. But like for the longest time, I always wanted to ask you like which one you had more fun doing between him and Panther, because in my opinion, Panther almost fits your body type and skill levels more so, like the style of natural movement that he gets to do in the films.
It does.
You know?
It does. It's really funny. I think I've really tried really hard to not put myself out like that. And I think it's because I love to praise everyone. I love to let everybody else shine. And I feel like sometimes my shine will sometimes overshadow other people's shine. So I've literally gone to great lengths to make sure that people don't recognize me as the Panther double. I go, it's not just me. It's Guy De Silva. It's Danny Graham. It's Anish Sherfa. It's a bunch of us. You know what I mean? So that people aren't just like, it's Aaron Toney. And I'm like, nah. And I don't know if this sounds a little, how do you say, conceited, but I feel like because of who I am, I kind of understand that I'm popular. You know what I mean? A little bit.
Totally.
So I don't want people to get it in their heads that I'm the only one.
Yeah.
That's all. So.
And it's not to, again, make it a race thing, but like in the grand scheme of things, as far as African-American stunt performers, there is a very short list in comparison to, you know, Asian-American stunt performers and things like that. So I think it's just been natural that yourself in the duration of your career, you've just like elevated yourself to like the top of the list, quote unquote. So a lot of people just kind of like automatically assume it's you if it's an African-American character. You know what I'm
that's
saying?
so interesting to me because it's like my hero is Clay Fontenot.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we all in the industry know who Clay is.
OG.
Clay lives by a very sort of like, I don't really talk about myself code, which is great. You know what I mean? But the man is a G. I think I remember early on in my career it was a producer came up to me and she was like, Clay. And I was like, oh no, I'm not him at all. I was like, don't even. I was like, no, no.
Yeah.
That's a league of its own right there. Sorry. But I seriously think that the man is in a league of his own. Like seriously, the man can drive, fight, coordinate, you know, act. He can do whatever he wants, you know.
Yeah, it's so funny that we have those people. For me, it was always, I used to always get calls from people and they'd be like, hey, Ilram's not available, but he wants you to do this. And I'm like, well, what do you expect Ilram to do, first of all, before I say yes to this job? Because I bet it's nuts.
Ilram can still do everything that he used to be able to do. He recently did a Corridor Crew episode, and he did a front tuck that was the prettiest front tuck all over the couch. And I was like,
this guy still got it.
That was great. I was like...
100.
But he's like semi-retired too, you know what I mean? And I think when it comes to when we say we're retiring, I think some of us, I'm not going to speak for Ilram, but for me, I want to move forward with performing.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a stunt double anymore.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I still got to pay the bills, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if there's a little day here and somebody needs me to like, you know, drive or get shot with a gun, fine, great. But I'm not looking to be a double anymore. Another reason is I'm at a place in my life where I've still got so much more left in the tank, and I want to reserve that for something else.
Okay.
And I'm building on that right now, and I'm really excited about it. So I've been developing, I'll just say it, I've been developing a series called Throne, and I did a short, and I put it out, and it got, you know, like 40K in views, which to me is huge. Some people are like, oh, you didn't hit like 100K and like 1 million views. I'm like, dude, like I created, you know, something that's original with my team and got any kind of recognition for that, to me is huge. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I've literally just been laying the groundwork for this as its own thing. And, you know, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it, but I'm literally in the trenches correctly writing concept art, doing all the things that I think need to be done to actually do something special.
100%.
You know? So, yeah.
And along the lines of that, like, I don't want to butcher the name, so I'll let you state them yourselves, but you've been putting up these Instagram posts that are like, I would say, they don't fully say exactly what you're doing right now, but you're basically kind of giving people a hint that you're starting these 2 other companies right now.
Yeah.
And so I won't incorrectly say them. And if you want to speak on them, I'll let you explain what exactly they are and what you're choosing to do with them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I've basically created my own brand. It's called Halvin Corp Entertainment.
That's what I was wondering if it was
And
Halvan or Halvin.
Halvin Corp Entertainment, or Halvin Corporation Entertainment is the full name. But I've literally just created my own entertainment company that I'm doing. And under that sort of brand, I have Global Forge Studios, which is my sort of, it's my house where I'm developing all of my ideas. And I'm developing my first show, Throne, under that as well. So Halvin Corp Entertainment is our main, and then Global Forge Studios is our sort of creative. If you wanted to think about them, you think about, say, Lucas, Films and ILM.
Okay.
So I've got, though, if you compared them, of course, they've done way more tremendous things, but those are two that you can sort of compare them to.
And one of the Instagrams specifically, it looks like it has a lot of renderings of like weapons, for lack of a better term, and stuff like that. So are you also like developing stuff in-house as far as your own weaponry and props? Yeah,
I'm really excited. I smile when I think about it, because I've literally been creating weapons. I started playing around with I literally, during this pandemic, learned Photoshop, Krita, in Blender. And I've been literally in the trenches building my own weapons for the show. So I'm really excited about that, because there's some real special stuff coming for Gabriel's character, for the lead, and for a bunch of other characters that you're going to see in this first season of the show. So really excited about that. Every time I go into my office and I start building these out, I'm like, yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? And I've shown a couple of people. I haven't shown you yet. I'll show you one once we're done.
Dope.
Off camera. But yeah, really excited.
Hell yeah. And so what is the ultimate goal with these companies? Is it to continue to produce your own in-house projects, or is it going to be more of like you're a producer of other people's projects?
Both.
Okay.
Both. I literally am developing a show for my own talents, and because I think that I've just got a lot. There's a lot that I'm still yet to do, and that's why I literally had to step away from doubling. I was like, I'm getting older, but I still, like I said, I actually recently, we were just talking about PT. I went to PPT and discovered that my knees, after 15 years in this business, are really good, and I was shocked. I was like, I'm gonna find a bunch of scar tissue in there and this and that, and I was like, the doctor was like, your knees are great. I was like, what?
Crazy.
I was like, cool. So, and then my shoulders, while they still have a little bit of scar tissue because I've just been beat up over the years, they were like, wow, you have like a mild tear, and when you got your last MRI, that actual tear was bigger. It's gotten smaller. So everything that I've been doing over the years, whether it's been my own PT and sort of my own physical, achievements with it, trying to eat better and do all these things, has made me stronger.
Yeah.
So, at almost 40, I was happy to hear that. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I was gonna do, my show regardless, but I was like, I'm actually in better shape than I was when I was in my 20s. This is great.
I know, dude. You make me feel horrible all the goddamn time. I watch your stories and I'm like, this fool's out here doing handstand presses and the splits on all three sides still. And I'm over here at PT, and I'm just trying to touch my toes and stuff.
But you could do it, T.
I can.
You could totally do it, man.
I can.
It's funny. I'm not here to just promote sort of better health with, my own method. I think that there's a combination of methods. I don't think vegan is the only way to go. I think you can still eat meat, but still have your dietary sections within that where you don't eat a lot of meat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because
totally.
people go, I don't eat meat, period. And good for you. My body is different. Yeah. I am skinny naturally. So when I need to be a little bigger, I need to eat, meat. I do. Yeah. And it helps me. But I also know that I don't need it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. As I've gotten older, I've started to learn that it's all about not only just balance and stuff like that, but it's also about just listening to your body. Because there's some times where I'm predominantly pescatarian. I was vegan for a year. It was too damn difficult.
Yeah.
But there'll be times where my body's craving red meat, and I'm like, you know what? I probably need something, whether it's iron or whether it's just something that I need from that. And I'm just going to listen to my body. I do it, and I'm like, okay, that was good. Now I'm back to normal, eat my normal diet again, know? So
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah.
So with that being said, obviously you've kind of just expanded upon it personally. And I was curious, before we got to have this discussion, whether or not you were hanging up the doubling hat because physically you were starting to feel it, or if it was just so you could pursue your other stuff. But it seems to be the latter, that you're choosing to do it on your own accord before it becomes a part where you physically just can't compete at the same level. Yeah,
I'm at a high, and I feel like, it's just a shift. Okay. That's all it is, really. It's not that I can't do it. I feel like I could go another 5 to 10 years, but I don't want to. Yeah. Because I want to do other things, and so I think it's a really good time to move forward with those. And whether I crash and burn building this out, that's fine too. You know what I mean? But I am going to pursue it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I think it's cool to just do it on your own accord. It's something that I've been trying to, like, the last few years, is like predate my own body and make my own decision in my head of like, okay, I'm going to slowly make the transition to fight coordinating and then eventually stunt coordinating, way before it gets to the point where I'm like, I can't walk. Now I need to stunt coordinate and stuff like that, Yeah. And it's a real humbling thing. The last couple of weeks I've been performing simply because my show got canceled. Yeah. And every time I perform, I'm like, nah, I don't want to do this no more.
I think I'm good, man. I'm over this.
Last weekend I was in Portland, and we were in a car, me and Tim James, and we basically just he had to spin the tires on and drive, and the car was dead manned off. Yeah. Take one was it was all right. Take two was like super easy. So we both looked at each other like, we're chilling. Yeah. But they didn't tell us on take three that what we were dead manned off to was going to pump the brakes at the same time. Oh. So take three came, and we both went, we shouldn't have loosened up. Yeah. We got way too loose, took it for granted. And ever since then, dude, I like went back to PT, and I'm like, yo, I'm a hot mess. Now I'm like, take care of my back and my neck. Like, yeah. Yeah, man. And so those quick reminders are like, okay, I'm making the right decision. I don't want to do this stuff forever. Like, it's not that we can't. Yes. But I definitely just don't want to.
You just should not. Stunts is a young man and woman's game, bro. Yeah. It is. And what was funny, man? I saw this, and it just made me chuckle, because I remember being the young 25-year-old kid in the room. Totally dumb. And everybody's like, it was Pirates. It was Pirates. I was the youngest kid in the room, and everybody's like, who are you? And I was like, just bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm Aaron. And everyone's like, is this your first job? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, my friends now are telling everybody, this is this kid's first job. And being on that show was life-changing, because I met, a bunch of great individuals from Stunts Unlimited and Stuntman's Association and Brand X and ISA. They were all there, and so I got exposed to all of them, and I got hazed because I was young and it was my first show, and no one understood why I was there. And so once I started doing stuff, they understood why I was there. So it was great. It was a blessing. But man, I remember that. And now go doing Falcon and Winter Soldier and being the older guy in the room and seeing the young kids. And for me, it's seeing David Warren. Yes. In the room. Yeah. The kid's amazing. I see him, and I'm the older guy. And I was like, well, ain't this about a bitch? Right? Yeah. But it was serendipitous, because it was so beautiful. I went, wow, 15 years ago, I was the young guy, and now I'm the old guy in the room. Bro. And that was another reason I was like, it's not necessarily that I don't feel bad about it. Like, if I continue to be the old guy in the room, I love it. But I'm like, I think it's time for me to go as this double. Because literally, I threw everything that I've ever wanted to do at this character. Yeah. Like, I pushed, man. And I'm happy where I pushed. You know what I mean? So
100.
I have no regrets.
It's humbling to me, because back in the days, I used to always get calls for people when they're trying to cast kids, and they're like, you own JAM, so you know a bunch of kids. Like, who would you suggest? And I used to always suggest Andrew Franklin as a little kid. Now Andrew Franklin's old enough that I'm hiring him on real damn shows. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, how old am I now that I'm actually hiring this guy to play adults, Bro,
like, isn't it crazy? It's crazy to see Kieran and Andrew and all these kids that we literally, from when we used to do White Lotus to now what we have at JAM, we've grown up with them. Yeah, we've grown up with so many of it, and they're like our kids, man. Like, seriously, I see them and I go, I got to hire my little kids from JAM now.
It's crazy. I remember back when like Jacob Pinto was like 4 feet. Now he's like 4'2", but it's like,
you know what I'm saying?
Poor Jacob. He's at least 5'2" now.
It's okay, buddy. We get it, man. You still killing it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's crazy. It's cool to see the changing of the guards, but also just like kind of see like where we're at and like progressing in our lives right now. So for you personally, like, is the next goal, obviously we've talked about the entertainment companies and doing your own stuff like that. Mm-hmm. will you now, because I've asked you this for like the last 5 to 10 years, will you now make the transition to fight coordinating and stunt coordinating more so than you've already been doing?
Yes, okay. I will. Like, that is a hard yes. Okay. I know you've been asking me for years. Hey, T, when you going to be done? And I was like, I ain't done yet. Not done yet. And now I'm like, bro, I'm done.
That's why it's so surreal to me, because I've been asking for years, dog.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did get a call about a decent sized show. I'm not gonna say it's huge.
Yeah, you don't have to say it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mention what it is, but it's huge, and I was legitimately asked for my services as a fight coordinator, and that's humbling, and I'm excited about it. So hopefully, I'm in negotiations right now, but we'll see if it all pans out. And if I don't get the job, then I'll just continue with Throne. And
I bet the family, mama won't be too upset if you're stuck home.
Yeah, so I'll either be home in LA or I'll be somewhere else. So, yeah.
Story of your life.
Yeah, man. It's it.
That's hella funny.
Yeah, bro.
And so like more so like obviously that after the duration of 15 years of performing and stuff like that, I more so just wanted to kind of see like what advice you would have for some of the youngsters out there that are trying to enter the realm of stunt doubling as opposed to just being an ND performer. If there's any tips and tricks you have in order to kind of get yourself into that, for lack of a better term, like contractually or just in alignment with an actor that continues to carry you through the rest of the shows.
It was one of those things that kind of just fell into my lap, I guess, because of how I look. I look very similar to Anthony Mackie. I've got big eyes just like Anthony, and, our head shapes and our body build. He's actually a lot bigger, but like my structure, fits well. I'm a little bit skinnier. But anyways, it's just a matter of what you not only look like, but your talent level. And for me, I think being a sort of hardcore martial artist served me well, because I got sort of bumped up to the top of the list as an acrobat / martial artist. So I was literally plucked from just being, an ND guy to, oh, you actually fit a wide range of actors. And some people, if you're seeking being a double, I don't know if it's going to work like that. Like for me, it's a matter of, do you fit a certain person's build? If you want to seek it, maybe, and I've seen this online. I've seen some people put up pictures of themselves with actors, and that's great. I think coordinators will look at that and go, oh, you actually do look like so-and-so. Now it's a matter of, do you fit the skills sort of repertoire of what's required? So even though you may look like the person, don't get butthurt because you don't get the job. Maybe you don't have all of the skills that the coordinator is requiring at that time. So seek it, but don't necessarily let that be your end-all, be-all, because it shouldn't. There's so many other things that you can do in this business. I know people that come into the business of stunts and become top-tier fight coordinators. Vlad Rimberg, fight coordinator / action director. And, he does Lucifer, and he's killing the game. Never had to go ahead and really be a stunt guy. And for a while, people, were not happy with that, but it's like, well, what do you want to really do in the business? If that isn't your passion, I think you should be able to do whatever you want. You know what I mean? But also you have to have the knowledge of what it is to be, a stunt person. And I think Vlad understands that. So it's one of those things to not come into the business not being a stunt person. But if you're amongst us and you work with us, then you definitely understand it. So there's definitely a line, you know what I mean? Because I think certain people will be, I don't have to be a stunt guy. I can just jump into the business. No. Vlad actually did shorts, and he's worked with myself and you over the years, and that's why we trust him. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah, 100%. And more than anything, it's like he's put in the time also just as far as his shooting is concerned. Like this guy has more fights online than anyone I can think of,
Literally. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know anybody who's done more besides him and Eric Jacobus. Like, seriously.
100%.
Like, those two, I'm like, y'all win, man. Y'all have, literally from when you first started, you have your whole progression of how you've evolved in this business.
Yeah.
You can do whatever you want.
100%. Yeah, it's really crazy. And it speaks to a larger issue that's something that is really, it hasn't bothered me recently, but there's been a lot of discussions that have come up, even brought to my own personal attention via messages and stuff like that, where, it's a very sensitive subject, so I don't want to bait us both into getting in trouble right now, but I'm just going to kind of skirt around it. But I've gotten some messages from people basically trying to get me on board with saying that there's an issue with diversity hiring within our industry. And I've always responded that I think there is a lack of skills within our industry, within those groups of diversity.
Yeah.
And I've always been a big proponent and a huge believer that if you're the best, you're going to get hired. And I think you've always been someone that I've looked up to, especially when that is concerned, because you have no problem getting hired and working nonstop. But at the same time, you have all the skills and check all the boxes and continue at this point to train.
Yes.
It's something that like I champion at all my workshops, like, and people are probably sick of hearing it when I say it to them, or they probably are like, who's this asshole trying to say this? But I always like look around the room and I'm like, how many of y'all played high school sports? And like, how many hours a week did you train for that sport?
Yeah.
And a lot of them, and then I just point blank go, do you train stunts as much, or do you put in as much time now as you did for that? And a lot of them don't. And it's like, how do you expect to get to a level where you can make more money than a lawyer and a doctor if you don't put in the time in school that they did, you know?
Absolutely. And you know what, man? I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because I want everybody to succeed. I really do.
100%.
100%. I have no problems with hiring anybody as long as their skills are adequate. And I've been under fire for not being on board. And I think that point blank, that's crap.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because I watch everything. Let's just say that.
Totally.
So when everybody thinks that I'm not watching, I watch everything. Trust me. So I know about all of the, not only African Americans that are out there, I know about all of, the Caucasian and the white people and everybody under the sun. So it's not just one of those things that you go ahead and say, oh, well, he only hired that person because they're that. And I'm like, no, I really want the best person for the job. So it's not about diversity to me. It just is not. It's about making sure. And I know a lot of coordinators feel this because I get calls by coordinators and they literally go and tell me they want to hire a person of color. But are their skills up to snuff? And I get asked that hard question. I'm not going to lie to them.
Yeah.
So if you can prove to me that your skills are up to snuff, I will throw your name to that coordinator.
Totally.
Okay. So for a lot of people, they get mad at me. And, I'm not going to go into detail and names, but I caught flack for a post and you know what I mean? And it hurt you, man. You think about it, you go, wow, like this person really thinks that I don't care about my own people.
Yeah.
Of course I care about my people. You know what I mean? I want us all to succeed and come up. There's nothing that makes me more happy than everyone succeeding, and especially my own color. You know what I mean? But also, I want to bring everyone up. And the reason why I say that is because I got trained by Chad Stahowski and Dave Leach and Damon Caro at 8711, and no one even batted an eyelash that I was black.
Not at all.
So when you go ahead and say, when I've been approached to lead just African Americans, I go, that's not how I was taught. I want my people to be amongst the other people so that everybody learns from each other. That's how I'm going to go ahead and uplift and teach and train everybody else. I'm not going to segregate. I'm not going to just go ahead and say, it's only a black thing. No, everybody's skills need to go ahead and come up. There's laziness in every single color. Everybody feels entitled, and I hate that word. That word is such an ugly word. You're only entitled to one thing, taxes and death, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. You ain't entitled to shit in this business. And I apologize for, cussing, but this business is just like that. Everybody feels entitled. Oh, I should have that. I should have that because, that's our people. I'm like, really? Do you have the skills to go and do that?
Yeah.
Oh no, but that's ours. You know what I mean? That's not yours. None of that belongs to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If your skills are good, guess what? You're gonna get hired. Just be ready. That's what I like to tell people. Just be ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Have the proper skills. Be ready. Be attentive. Be a good person on set. Be helpful. Be respectful of everybody else's feelings and wishes. You know what I mean? And it's good to have an ego. I love saying this. It's good to have an ego, but it's also you need to have your ego in check when things don't go your way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. The more that like I start to get frustrated is because like as over the last few years I've started to like fight coordinate and stunt coordinate my own projects. There are many times where I have to like look up a certain double, and when I look up the options that exist out there and I watch the reels and things like that, most oftentimes I'm like, there's not really a fit for this job skill wise. Like to pull off the choreography that I would like to do, honestly, the answer is nobody in this list. Yeah. And that's the most frustrating thing to me, is that it's like a lot of people think that it's a diversity issue or we're trying to close doors, but more so it's a skills issue in my opinion. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people just aren't putting in the time to necessarily train the right things. Yes. And I do know that there is a lack of training opportunities. Like a lot of people ask me, is there a stunt class I recommend? Not really. I don't really have one in my mind that I would recommend for anyone to take. I get asked all the time, what's a wire class you'd recommend? And I go, honestly, I learned a lot of stuff I did like on the job and meeting riggers and getting the opportunity to like learn firsthand. And I know that's not going to happen to everyone. So I do feel for a lot of these people that there is a lack of mentorship programs. Yes. And that's why recently I've tried to do workshops now that I've been home in LA. Yeah. I did 6 workshops over the last 2 months. That's more than I've done in the last 10 years.
Dude, totally. Yeah. And I'm getting ready to teach one too. So I can announce that here. I'm getting ready to teach another one because I'm in town. I want to teach as much as I can, but I think people also got to understand that I've also got my own life. Yeah. And I'm also building my own sort of, wishes and things that I want to do in life. So when people go ahead and say, well, I want to train, but you're never available. And I'm like, yeah, because I'm doing my own thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not available to train you. But when there's a workshop, I will let you know, because I get hit up a lot. Hey, when's the next workshop? I will let people know on my social media when that happens, so that people can go ahead and come and train, because I want everybody to train, and I want to be available to go ahead and help people grow and develop. And some people want individual training, and I'm not always available to do that because I'm doing my own thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So people get mad at me. They're like, well, you're not putting any effort into other people, and I'm like, there's only a certain amount of people, and it takes a lot. And I've said this online. I'll say it right now. It takes a lot for me, because think about a mother and her child, or a father and his child. Every life lesson that a mother teaches to their kid is you're giving a piece of yourself away. Yeah. Every time I teach, I'm literally giving you a piece of me. So if you want me to go ahead and give you my individual time and mentor you, that's me taking literally my time to give you direct knowledge. Like, to me, it's really sacred and special if I choose to mentor someone or to teach someone, because I don't choose anybody. I literally, like, in the past year or two, I've only mentored maybe 3 people, and everybody goes, well, you only put some certain time into certain people. And I'm like, I do. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I feel like this person is definitely hungry, and they listen, and they are a sponge. And certain people that want to come into this business, then they're just I want to do what you do. And I'm like, but I look at your skill set and I look at what you do. And that could be my own bias. If that's a problem for you, I don't know what to tell you. But I will teach certain individuals individually, and I will teach a majority of other individuals in a group setting. And that, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think I should be entitled to go ahead and teach someone just because they are requesting individual time. Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. That doesn't hurt my feelings. You know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it's like you said, like, we're living our own lives. And honestly, in my personal opinion, my free time is my most precious and rare commodity, because I have so much going on between work and other ventures and personal projects. And for you have 2 kids and a wife, so it's like we have to find this balancing act between having free time on our own. And for me personally, like, it just takes some sort of initiative, right? Yeah. I see a lot of people that send me one post or one question like, hey, can I train with you? And I'm like, I'm not training right now, I don't have time. Yeah. But it's the person that has asked me like 15 times if they can train with me, or they continue to like send me practice fights, which may be absolutely garbage in the beginning. Yeah. But I'm like, but you took the time to shoot this, and you care about what my opinion is, that you keep sending me these. And after I see like a little bit of initiative, I will then take my time to give it back to you. I have a group of girls I'm training right now that I don't benefit from it at all. Yeah. Like, donating my time and training them and giving them my knowledge. Maybe the only benefit will be, I tell them this all the time, is hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be able to hire you because your skills are up to the level that like I would like to utilize in my choreography. Yeah. But each and every single one of them was only because I saw them put in the time and effort. Right. I met one of them because she constantly requested to book private lessons. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be a money thing where you got to pay me. But if I see that you're constantly trying to get training, I'm like, okay, they're like actively seeking it. Totally. And then another girl would just constantly put out practice fights online. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, she's doing something that 99% of our industry isn't doing. I'm going to reward her by seeing that she's putting in the extra effort and give her some of my effort. So
yeah, totally. And you know, for me, I guess I live by a different code with what I've been exposed to and had access to with Chad and Dave and Damon. I love to teach, and I love to teach in my own method based off of what I have been taught. You know what I mean? So totally. I take the lessons that were given to me by all of those mentors of mine who have just been gracious with their time over the years, and I've molded into my own thing. And so when I get time to actually have one-on-ones, or even if it's even in passing, like I see people sometimes at the gym, and I'll just give them a quick sort of like breakdown of something if they ask me, and that's fine. But I really, if I'm talking to you and I give you something, like it's because I've really come from a place of, hey, I see what you're doing, and I think you should maybe try this. And you don't have to listen to me. It's just an opinion. It's fine. Do whatever you want. But like I said, I want everybody to succeed and grow and develop. So I apologize to anybody that feels like they've been slighted if I didn't take individual time. But also know that I've got my own thing going on. And if you want, please come to a workshop, and I'm happy to go ahead and help you in a group setting. But if I decide to mentor you, it's literally because I'm literally going to take a piece of me and give this to you. So now that everybody knows how sentimental I am when I mentor, now that you know, but that's just how I roll. You know what I mean?
100%.
I feel like Chad Stahelski put a lot of energy into a bunch of us. And man, it's just one of those things that it's like, if I'm gonna teach, I'm gonna do it right. You know what I mean? So when people go and ask me, it's like I'm gonna show you some stuff, and you may hate me at the end of the day because the way I teach it's not gonna be nice. I'm gonna literally break you down, like literally, like this is wrong, that's wrong. And so when people want that individual attention, I don't think they know what they're in for. I've made people cry.
Same here. Same here.
And
I'm like, damn it.
I'm like, all right, this is what you wanted, so here we are. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's like, I don't think people understand what it takes to be really good. It's not easy. It's like ballerinas. You're basically taught to go ahead and do everything outside of what your body is naturally developed to go ahead and do. Ballet is hard, you know? Stunts is hard. Screen fighting is hard. Wires is hard. This is all stuff that if you really want to go ahead and do it right, it's not easy. So when people go ahead and say, I want individual attention, like, okay, well, here we go. You know what I mean?
100%. So. I think one thing that people don't realize is like we were talking about as far as like time and wanting to do what we want to do, is that like for a lot of us, like speaking personally, so I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but speaking personally, I had no childhood growing up because of the amount of hours I was stuck in a martial arts gym. So all the time that you're trying to get from me now, I'm just trying to gain that free time I didn't have as a kid. And that's why it means so much to me now. And so for some of them that didn't do martial arts as a kid, it's like, you just have to put in those hours that a lot of us did way previously when we were a lot younger, you know? And so.
Oh man, I remember we were on Percy Jackson, bro, together, and I threw a whip chain at you, and I had no idea Travis could go ahead and do this. This dude threw out a whip chain section that was legit. I was like, oh, dang, I know you could do that. You just pulled it because and then I knew, I was like, oh, of course, you know, like from your background. I was beside myself because I'd never seen you do that before. Yeah. We've known each other for years. But I thought it was the coolest thing. I was like, this dude legit knows a whip chain.
Yeah. That's the thing. We've all acquired these skills like just at earlier points in our life. And we may not showcase them now, but it's like, we're just trying to, for me personally, I'm just trying to make up for that lost time I didn't have as a kid. And that's why the free time now, I'm like, I'm going to go eat sugarfish and like do my own shit.
I'm living my life, son. Back up off me, I'm living my life.
People watch my stories and like, you got tons of free time. I'm like, nah, I'm just living my best life now.
I'm living my best. And you should be able to do that. But no, I'm definitely trying to find the balance of helping individuals out there that want to do what they want to do. Building my own company and putting out the projects I want to put out, but also spending time with my family, man, with my kids and my wife, man. It's all very, very important to me, you know, and finding time to just build everyone else up, man, because that's another thing I want to do. It's like, if with the people that I really, really want to be around, I really want to be there to help them. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And it doesn't mean everybody come at me at once. Hey, can you help me? No, it's hey, I see what you're doing. Let me help. You know what I mean? That's all. Because I feel like that happens. People are like, oh, you want to help people? Can you help me? It's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
yeah.
so-
I mean, hopefully this just clarifies to some of the people out there, like ways that they can, not impress us by any means, but just prove that you are serious about getting some help and just ways to like catch attention and stuff. Because I know it doesn't just ring true for you and me. It rings true for a lot of other people in this business that are very successful. And not to say that we're successful, but there's a lot of very successful people that work way more than I do. So I know their free time is even more limited. So
yeah, absolutely.
if you're trying to gain.
Bro, absolutely. Man, there's a bunch of people that always send me stuff, and I'm always like, oh, look at this, look at that. And they're always like, can you come do this? And it's like, a lot of times, it's like for me is, I just don't feel like that's my best purpose for that right now. I can help. Totally. So what I try to do is I try to help in other ways. You know what I mean? So if someone asks me to be in something, I might not be in it, but I'll say, hey, maybe I can help out with that. Yeah, and I'll never just go ahead and say I'm not. No, I can't help you. I'll always try to help.
I've never done any of your films, but I always volunteer to be craft services.
Bro, right? Can I just say this? Travis has always helped me out on whatever I've done. Like, I put out Throne, and my man was there doing craft service, like legitimately producing, making sure that we had everything. I was like, holy crap. Yeah. You and James, man. And James was in it. But like, dude, that to me speaks volumes, and which is why I've got big things planned for us, man. Already, because I see that, and I'm like, that means a lot to me.
But it just shows like you got to pick and choose. I mean, we're business partners, but like I have no desire to do short films and stuff like that for free or false. But I'm like, I'll show up and bring drinks and food.
Legitimately, dude, I support. I'm not gonna be in it, but I support. I was like, my man.
So there are tons of different ways that you can support and like be a part of people's inner circle. So yeah, hopefully that helps some of the younger generation and people that are out there, because I know mentorship is a huge thing that a lot of people are seeking right now, and I hope that we'll have the opportunity to do so. Like you mentioned, you're going to do some workshops coming up at JAM in the very near future, and I hope everyone like really takes it to heart and like hops on board and takes advantage of the rare opportunities you'll probably have to train with you and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, you just come on out and just have fun and be a sponge. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah,
just take it all in, and take the information and merge it with your interests and wants and desires and your strengths. You know what I mean? That's all. Yeah. Not everybody has to be exactly what I do or what you do or what anybody else does. Play to your strengths. You know what I mean? Christopher Troy, dude, dope, one of the dopest b-boys, but he plays to his strength of like jiu-jitsu and judo, and you see it. It's just evolved. He's literally created his own style with all this stuff, and it's dope. You know what I mean? Just play. Like the world is your oyster. Play. Don't spend so much time trying to emulate everybody else. Like it's a waste of time. Be unique. Be yourself. You know what I mean? It's so much more rewarding. When I discovered that, when I stopped giving a shit about what everybody else thought and I started doing what I wanted to do, man, like, I'm so much happier.
100%, dog.
Yeah.
I think no truer words have been said.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, you only live once, so.
You only live once, yeah.
Gotta
truly.
make sure you're happy and have no regrets.
You think so, yeah.
Hell yeah. So with that being said, man, like, I've obviously asked you this question before about the 5-year and 10-year, so I won't ask you the same exact question right now. But what is on the plate for you in the very near future, immediate future, and then what's on the plate in the broader spectrum of things? And I know this whole thing has kind of been that all wrapped up into one, but maybe you can just consolidate it and let us know like what the plans are for the future.
Yeah. Continuing to develop my own shows. I definitely have one that's already in the pipeline. So I have an original IP that's being developed, and we're going to see where that goes. Also want to help other people develop their projects as well, and then continue to be a part of the broad spectrum of movie making as a fight coordinator and eventually an action director. And those are my sort of wishes. You know what I mean? That's really what I want to do, and I'll do that to the day I die. And act and perform, because I never want to stop performing. You know what I mean? To some degree, I will always be in front of or behind the camera.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. You know what I mean? Because I love this business. You know what I mean? Even when it sucks, I love this business. You know what I mean? We're going through a pandemic right now. People are trying to figure out ways to go ahead and shoot stuff and shoot around it. And we've got to have all these mandates in place to actually just shoot the stuff, but still people are finding ways to do it, and we're still putting out great stuff. So
hell yeah.
The entertainment business will continue to press on regardless of what's going on in the world. It always has. You know what I mean? I remember the Olympics. I remember there was war going on and everybody stopped to have the Olympics still. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. I think people require entertainment in some way, shape, or form. And I think my biggest thing is I totally 100% in my heart want to always be a part of helping people find an escape, to entertain and let you imagine. That's my biggest thing. That's all I want to do for the rest of my life is help people have an experience, and either make you gasp or make you cry or make you laugh, That's it. That's it. Because at the end of the day, man, it's like, what else do we have besides experiences throughout life? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not everything has to be stressful with bills and, relationships and all kinds of stuff. Dude, just, it's cliche and corny, but, at some point you just want to live, laugh, and love. So.
Hell yeah. I agree, man. And so with that being said, can you just let people know where they can follow you and stay up to date with not only you, but I guess the future ventures and things that you have in the works right now?
Yeah, it's going to be long.
And we'll throw it on the screen too.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to go ahead and follow me, it's Aaron Toney on Instagram and on Twitter. It's a little underscore, or what is it, the little hash thing, the little line underneath the A, and then, my first and last name. And then if you want to follow along with what we're doing with Throne, you can follow at Halvin Corp at Instagram pretty much, or Halvin Corp SM, I believe. And then Global Forge Studios is the other one, so it's a Global Forge SM, I believe. And I think we have a Twitter for Halvin Corp Entertainment as well. But yeah, those are all the sort of places where you can follow us and kind of see the sort of inner workings of what's going on with the show and what we have coming up in the future.
Dope. And we'll be sure to put them on the screen.
Right on, man.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, it's been fun, T.
Yeah, dog.
Oh yeah, man.
Yo, guys, with that being said, please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast, interviewing influential members of the movement community like Mr. Aaron Toney himself. So with that being said, I got to give one more very special thanks. Thanks for coming through, AT.
Oh yeah, bro. Always a pleasure, my friend.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man.
And as always, coming through, I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.